Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review, and this has been a pretty good week this week. We've had a lot of really weak weeks with the releases, so it's finally cool to see a week where there's actually some cool stuff coming out. I've been waiting for this one. I saw this one was announced way back before, but before I get to babbling, just got to ask, to like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because what we do here is talk about bands that we love. A lot of times bands that have been around a while, just because that's the stuff I listen to. And this is one that's been around for quite a while, so if you're into that type of thing, you like sharing stories and talking about bands that we love, that's your thing, like, share, and subscribe, like I said. If not, appreciate you checking it out, but that's what we do here. So anyway, like I said, I was really excited to get this one. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing the name of this album right, but it's Spock's Beard, the Archaeoptimist. I don't know if I said that right or not. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I've been looking at that thing for 3 weeks now, trying to figure out how you say it. I think that's how it's done, but I'm a huge Spock's Beard fan. I like Neil Morse. I discovered him years ago. I don't know. I can't even remember the whole way I found him, but I think it was actually Spock's Beard I found first, and I'm thinking about it. I got the album Snow, and I don't remember how I ended up with it. I bought it somewhere, saw it. I just heard of their progressive rock band. I'm really into that style of music. I know something, keyed me off to that, so I bought that album. I really thought it was a very unique sounding album. I believe 5 was the one I got after that, and just really fell in love with Neil Morse's style of writing, his singing. I like his singing. Wasn't really what attracted me to the band, but I always enjoyed it. It took a little bit of getting used to for me, and it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just he has a very unique way of singing, I think. And but the more and more I listen to it, the more and more I liked it. I really like the stuff he does. His style of writing is just very good. Obviously, he's not with the band anymore. Hasn't been for quite some time. And since his departure, they've gone through a few membership changes here and there, and they have Ted Leonard singing and playing guitar in the band at this point. His brother Alan Morse is still on guitars. They have Dave Miros on bass, Ryo Okamoto on keys, who's been with them since after he was not on the debut, but I think he's been with them ever since then. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but I believe that's the case. And then we have a brand new member, Nick Potter's on drums and vocals, who I'm really not familiar with at all. But I feel they've gone through a lot of drummers. They've the Spinal Tap joke comes into play here, although none of them have passed away as far as I know. But they've been through a lot of drummers, and they always seem to find top-notch people, because this is really intricate music, and they need somebody that's really on top of the fact that he sings on. This is just an added bonus, because they've had drummers in the past who can sing pretty good too. So it's not surprising that that's what they were looking for. The thing is, for me, the way the albums have gone since Neil has left have strayed quite a bit from the original Spock's Beard sound. There's a couple different bands that have developed throughout the years. Pattern Seeking Animals, which I love, which consists of a few members of this, and Godzilla Monsters, which actually I don't know anything about. So it's one of those bands I think I'm going to have to check out here. But on this album, I feel there's an extreme return to form, even though Neil is not involved at all. Somehow they have this return to form sound and feel to the album. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the album was written by Royal and somebody else named Michael Whiteman, who wrote Ryo's original solo album, and this was actually what this was intended to be, was a follow-up to that album. And somehow along the line it developed into a Spock's Beard album, and I think mainly because of that Royal is, I really hope I'm saying his name right too, is the writing, is in that style of the older Spock's Beard. I'm not 100%, he's got his own feel and style to it, and I don't know anything about Michael Whiteman, unfortunately, but just because I think they wrote all the music anyway, I think it has that feel to it. But there was, when they brought to the band, they decided it was going to be a Spock's Beard album. I guess they changed some of the lyrics around and, of course, added their own little thing to it, each individual member, which I don't know, it just really brings that feel back to the original style. And one thing I really noticed, aside from the keys, and he likes using older sounds. He older like Moog type sounds and more classic sounding synths, although there's some newer stuff on here as well. So he's got a good mix, I believe anyway. However, the bass playing on this one I think was great. What's one thing I've really loved about this band, being as bass is one of my favorite instruments to play. I think Miros does a great job, especially on Electric Monk, that song, if you're into bass playing or anything like that, that song in particular, I think really showcases the bass playing on this, and the mix is great. The production on this album is really good. It's got a lot more shorter, not shorter songs, because they do have the title track, and this is extremely long. And that's the only downplay I will say is I felt these songs kept me interested in the songs. They, even though they're longer, they're shorter than some of this epic stuff they've done, but somewhere in between, I guess, is where we are on this one. I felt like I wasn't losing focus on the songs. I was actually really engaged. Aside from the title track, I had to go back and listen to that one a couple times because I did find myself kind of wandering. Maybe that's a me thing, but I really enjoyed everything else. And I tell you what, Morse's solo on St. Jerome in the Wilderness is fantastic, and I think that's probably my favorite song on the whole album, actually. And overall, I think, the feel of this, even though it has that classic Spock period sound, I think they have also got a little bit of their own identity in here as well, which I was trying to get my point. Each added individual has their own point, or own style that they've added in here. And as I was listening to it, I was getting really strong Kansas vibes. So I think maybe there's some influence there going on. Ted's voice just tends to lend to that style of music. He's got a little bit of higher range than Neil had, although Neil's got a good range. He's just got that overall tenor to his voice that just it leads itself to more of that style of singing. Tons of harmonies. If you're into harmonies, that's one thing this band has always had, but they're there. At the points in time, it was hard to tell who was singing what part, I'm not going to lie, but there's a couple areas where it really showcased off, and I was getting actually some Gentle Giant feels when they were doing the back and forth vocal things in there, and I found that really interesting because I hadn't really heard that going on in any previous thing I could think of with Spock's Beard. So even though this band has been quite a few years, I can't even remember the last album that came out, what year that was now, but it's been several years. Was it 19, I believe? I'm not sure. If you know, I'm terrible with years. That's like my worst thing. I just can't remember years at all. So, feel free to correct me in there. But overall, I know I didn't go through each individual song on this one, but I just feel like overall this had a very strong, cohesive feel to it. Has that strong Spock's Beard sound. Like I said, it's a little bit of a Kansas element there too. That's just, I was picking up on. More progressive, I think, than I was expecting. A lot of times there's a lot of repetitiveness in the stuff, which is fine, but that's also here while adding some more intricacies to it as well. So if that made any sense to you at all, great. If not, I'm sorry, but that's just kind of the feel I got from it. I really enjoyed it. I've listened to this one a couple times through now. Like I said, the title track I had to go back through and just re-listen and see where I was in that one. But other than that, I just think it's got the more immediacy to it. Reached out and grabbed me. Very high energy as well, and just really enjoyable listening. It's got Spock's Beard always has that uplifting feel to it as well. I think even though they do some weird, intricate stuff, it always has an uplifting, happy, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it's an uplifting feel to it. So anyway, that's my quick little rundown. I'm glad to see they're back out doing music, and I can't wait to hear more from these guys. Hope they keep doing it, and until then, we will see you.